Hello everyone, Ember here, and welcome back to a new video. In this one, I would like to take a look at the set Black Bolt and just do, a general set review for it. So first up is we have this new Superior line, and sadly, not really too much to report here. I mean, it can boost your damage by plus 20, which is kind of nice, I guess, but to be honest, it's a stage 2, so you're probably not going to try and make room for this. If we ever see something crazy like a spiritual reprint of Forest of Giant Plants, then maybe this could be good. But to be honest, I just don't really see the potential here. A grass triple colorless grass order can be pretty good, but your opponent can also just use Iono, of course. And then there's also the worry of how you're getting the energy on here in the first place. You could use reverse energy, but that would require you to be behind on prizes. And to be honest, this is the kind of attack that you want to be using in the earlier turns of the game. So yeah, unfortunately, I don't think this card is particularly great. It's a bit of a shame because I feel like Superior needs more cards in the TCG in general, but yeah, sadly, nothing too crazy for this one. Then we get to the new SimSage line, and yeah, it's a big shame that this is what they've done with the monkeys. I was hoping they'd maybe do something a bit more interesting, kind of like the monkey trio deck from Paradox Rift, but yeah, 2 colorless energy, 70 damage, can't get much worse than that. Then we have a petal, which I guess this could be like a pseudo upgrade to the petal we currently have, but not too much of a win there. Lilligan, yeah, not great to be honest. Like maybe a special condition deck in GLC, but aside from that, nothing there. Maractus, if it was healed, it can do 120, but it only has 100 HP, so it's just going to get blown away like a feather in the wind. Like Maractus is not surviving anything. We do have a Carablast that's kind of interesting. Says if you have any Shelmet in play, this Pokemon can evolve during your first turn or during the turn it was played. Now, we do have to wait until the other set to look at Shelmet, but I can confirm, sadly, that neither of these evolved Pokemon are anything that impressive, which is a bit of a shame. But, if you did want to, I guess, keep an eye on this, because in the future we could get, an Excelgor EX, I'm guessing, so, that could be really cool. So this is, at least worth keeping an eye on. And, if you see these in the bulk pile, maybe pick them up. But yeah, as it stands, nothing too crazy. Then we have a new Amoongus line, already made a community post talking about this guy. But yeah, dangerous reaction doing 150 if your opponent's active is affected by a special condition. Sadly, I think even with Brute Bonnet, this is just not doing nearly enough damage really for standard right now. You're two-shotting literally everything, which is a bit of a shame. You won't even one-shot a Charizard, which, that's pretty bad to be honest. You need a Perilous Jungle to take out a Charizard, so yeah, nothing too crazy there, sadly, for Amoongus, but definitely in GLC it could be good. Then we have a Victini. If you have less than 5 bench Pokemon, this attack does nothing. Does 120 for 2 Pharangy. I mean, that's okay, I guess, if we ever get a really good way of charging up basic Pharangy. But as it stands, I don't think 120 is quite enough in this day and age. If this had been around in the Sun and Moon era, then sure, but 120, when we have 330 HP Pokemon, is not particularly great. Then we have a new Diamantian line, which is rubbish, to be honest. It's a bit sad. Yeah, more of a GLC piece. Then we have Chandelure. Now, this line really irritates me because I love the artwork on this Litwick. Look at how amazing that is. But yeah, sadly, Chandelure, not very good. If you have at least 10 basic Pharange in your discard pile, it does 150 damage. Only 150 for that massive requirement, and it's a stage 2. Just seems way too much to ask. If this had been 250 damage, then yeah, I'll be right in there. This could be really fun. But even then, I don't think it would be anything crazy. But the fact that it's such a steep requirement to only do 150, yeah, really bad. Burn It All Up does 180 for 2 Pharangy, and you get to discard the energy. So it's definitely a GLC piece for sure. But for standard, absolutely not, I don't think. Then we have a Volcarona, which is kind of exciting for GLC actually. Says once in your turn, you may discard a Pharangy card from your hand in order to leave your opponent's active Pokemon burned. Has decent synergy with other burn attackers like Scorch, which can do 180 for 2 Pharangy. So, looking forward to this piece for GLC. Then we get to Simipour, which is, why did they do this? Why have a thematic monkey trio and just not do anything at all with them? 70 for 2 colors is so bland. At least do something fun, for each other monkey you have in play or something, search your deck for a card. You could do something fun with this. But yeah, it's just terrible. Then we have a Time Pull with the attack round. So, maybe we could have a round deck. Palpitoad also does the same thing, but does 40 damage. Now, I naturally assumed Seismitoad would do the same thing, but an even higher modifier for 2 energy. And for some reason, they made it 3 energy, which is super expensive. Like, even with reverse energy, I think this is just a bit too expensive to make work. 70 damage is a huge modifier. Like, you only need 4 of these guys in play to do 280, which is pretty good. But overall, I'm just not feeling this guy. Like, it just seems like a lot of work to do not a lot of damage. And you're not even one-shotting most things. So, we're not one-shotting like stage 2 EXs. So, yeah. Seismitoad, a bit of a letdown, sadly. Then we have a Tortuga. And I think this is the. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I thought this Tortuga had like a trash launch attack that did like 30 damage for each item card in your opponent's discard pile. I'm pretty sure it does anyway. Yeah, I feel like this is the wrong Tortuga for some reason. I'm not sure why this is here. I'm pretty sure this guy did not get reprinted. But okay, that's interesting. Maybe the other one will show up eventually in this video. Yeah, we've got this Caracosta here, which wait a minute. Has Pokebeach done whoopsies? Because I'm pretty sure we've already had these cards. In fact, I own this card. It's in my binder. Okay, that's strange. Anyway, I don't think we're getting a reprint of these guys, by the way. I think that's just been a slight mistake there. Yeah, we've got Amola thing. Okay, has the ability Gentle Fins. Kind of interesting ability, to be honest. Once your turn of this Pokemon is in the active spot, you may put a basic Pokemon with 70 HP or less from your discard pile into your bench. To be honest, if you're running like a lot of pivots and you always play Night Stretcher for just getting back 70 HP basics, then maybe this is actually pretty good. But overall, kind of awkward because then you have to get this guy out the active spot, so you will need like a rescue board or something. But overall, get some points for being a bit flavorsome. Then we have a Beartic line, which I don't think has ever had a good card in the Pokemon TCG, which is a bit sad. But yeah, not a very good card, sadly. Then we have a Caragonal, which can switch out your opponent's bench Pokemon, but it only does 20 damage. So yeah, sadly, it's very bad. We have a Kyurem, which is kind of interesting, but it's also just a bit rubbish. Like 130 and then 10 damage to each of your opponent's bench Pokemon for each prize card they've taken. Like maybe in the late game in a Baxcalibur deck, but Baxcalibur is quite inconsistent right now without Irida, so not really got too much faith in this, but it is at the very least kind of interesting, right? Also got this Emolga with Call for Family, also has Free Retreat, so it could be quite nice for GLC. We have a Tynamo with Free Retreat, always nice to see. We have an Electrike. Now this ability is pretty good, so like Dynamota is coming back into the TCG, which is cool. So I'm thinking maybe this with a Raging Bolt, for example. Although like Ogerpon is nice because you get the draw power from it. So, like it's pros and cons, right? This is a stage 1, like Ogerpon's a basic. Ogerpon's also requiring you to play Grass Energy. This doesn't. Ogerpon's also a 2-prizer. This is a 1-prizer. There's definitely pros and cons to this. But I think overall this could be a nice like single price bench sitter for Raging Bolt. Yeah, so kind of interesting though. Then we have an Electros, which once again does not get a good card. Like maybe if Buzz Flip had been for 3 energy, there could be something fun here, but it's just terrible, which is really sad. We have a Thunderous, which definitely for GLC. We have a Zekrom, which does 130 damage, and then 50 more for each prize card your opponent has taken, then 30 to itself. I mean, this could be kind of lethal in the mid to late game, in like a Lightning Box deck. And if we ever get back to like 3 prize Pokemon, then this could be a good finisher after your opponent takes 3 prize cards. So, it's kind of nice. But overall, nothing too crazy. But I do think this is probably like the best out of these new legendary Pokemon. Then we have Muna and Mushrana. Has the attack Dream Call, search your deck for any number of Fennel, reveal them, and put them into your hand. So Fennel is just a supporter, by the way, that says heal 40 damage from each of your Pokemon. So yeah, it's not very good, sadly. I do like the attacks that are related to supporters. I love having like a theme between trainers and Pokemon, but yeah, this is sadly terrible. So yeah, not a very good card. Then we have a Delusion with this Cellular Evolution attack, which is kind of good. And we have I'm just going to call this a Cell Pokemon, like 40 damage and then 40 more for each of your Evolution Pokemon in play. To be honest, I think this is not particularly great because I think there's like a Fire Giraffe already in Standard that does this for 2 colors and is a stage 1, and I would say that's actually a bit easier than doing this. So, like for a very fragile stage 2 Pokemon, I think it's a bit much. For GLC, yeah, it's finally cool that we're getting like a good cell Pokemon in GLC, but Evo Lariat just doesn't look very good. Then we've got an Alihim, which not very good. We've got a Bayhim, which not very good. Maybe with reverse energy, but more of a GLC piece. Then we have a Golurk, which is somehow even worse than like the one that came out in Sun and Moon. I'm pretty sure there was a Sun and Moon one that was like flip 2 coins and you do 90 damage for each heads. So like the fact that they're actually getting worse is a bit sad. So yeah, hopefully we get a good Golurk card eventually. Okay, we do get to an interesting card at the very least though. Meloetta EX is interesting. So 200 HP has the ability Live Debut, which is very thematic. If you go first, this Pokemon can attack on your first turn. Very cool. Now, Echoed Voice only does 30 damage, and during the next turn, this Pokemon's Echoed Voice attack does 80 more. But we need to have like a ruling on this, whether or not you can use TMs. Because if you can use things like TM Evolution or TM Energize, this could be huge. And the only reason I say we need a ruling for it is I think Diplin has an extremely similar wording, but Diplin can't like attack twice with TMs. So that's why I'm wondering. If you already know what like the rules clarification for this is, by the way, do let me know in the comments. But as it stands, I'm not sure, so I don't want to like say this is broken or anything. But if you can actually use things like TM Evolution with this, going first, or TM Energize, and that could be really, really good. So points for creativity here. I think this is really cool. It's definitely not powerful or anything, but could definitely be really cool tech cards. That's nice. We also get an Exadrilly X. I really like this Pokemon, so to see it done this dirty is a bit of a shambles, really. 60 damage, and then 60 damage Snipe is not very good. And then 200 ignoring resistance for 3 is just absolute trash. Now, to be honest, we are getting that item in like the set after this, actually. The one that says your fighting type attacks do plus 30 damage for a turn. So like you could maybe stack 3 or 4 of them and do like a ton of damage with this. But like Shaman's in the format, it's weak to grass. I don't think this card is great. But yeah, maybe it could be kind of fun in the future though. Then we have a new Conquilor line, and this Conquilor is sadly terrible. It's a spiritual reprint from the one from like the black and white era, which is cool, I guess, but it's just such a bad card. This Pokemon gets plus 40 HP for each fighting energy attached to it, and then the attack is just absolute garbage. So like, yeah, it's a bit of a shame, but like again, in GLC, this card could see play, but for standard, nope. Then we have a Thraw, which just to let you guys know, there was a Thraw in the Sun and Moon era that did 120 damage for 2 energy. So the fact that this does 120 and then 30 less for each energy your opponent's active retreat cost, yeah, they weren't even trying for this guy. We have a Crystal, which if it would be knocked out, its HP becomes 10 instead. That's kind of cool. It's nice to see these abilities, definitely for GLC. Then we have a Landorus for GLC. Then we have a new Scolipede line. Okay, Venoshock's like not that inefficient, so that's cool. That's nice to see. So what does this guy do? Okay, so if this Pokemon is in the active and damaged, okay, it does poison. And then Venoshock does 180 if they're poisoned for a dark and a colorless. It's just not very good. Like, why not just play the other Scolipede, the one that like reduces them down to 10 HP, and then you just Brute Bonnet and knock them out, and it's just so much better than this. So like, there's literally no reason to play this card while the other one exists. That's kind of a shame, but yeah, I guess this one's maybe a little bit better in GLC. I don't know, but yeah, kind of a shame. Then we have a new Crocodile line. This one was revealed recently, actually, but I didn't mention it because I just thought it was awful. Not very good, sadly. Definitely more of a GLC piece. Then we have a Mandibuzz. Could be quite nice in control, actually. I do think this ability has control applications, so it's nice to see them giving some love and support for control. So that's kind of cool. Then we have an Excavalier, which is the one that evolves from Carablast. Does 90 damage for a metal and then 30 to itself. So you can evolve on the first turn, I guess. But, it's 90 damage. It's not brilliant. Then we have a Bisharp, which... Okay, if your opponent's active is already damaged, does 120 in this day and age. Really? That's terrible. Definitely a GLC piece. So much for GLC in this set, which is cool. And we've got a Cabalion. If this Pokemon has a tool card attached to it, it does 120. Really? Just 120 for 3 energy and a tool card? Yikes, that's bad. Okay, we have a Genesect DX with the ability Metal Signal. Once in your turn, you may search your deck for two Metal Evolution Pokemon. I'm getting ahead of myself there. Reveal them and put them into your hand. Okay, finally a good card. I do think this is a good card. This will see play eventually, especially when we get like good metal type megas and things like Metagross X as well, like for getting that set up. So I do actually think this is a good card and will see play at some point. So, that's cool. Finally got a playable card, and it's Genesect. Okay, so we've got a new Haxorus line. I don't think this line was very good. Nope, it's not, sadly. With a reverse energy, you could like KO a basic Pokemon, but the pros end there, I guess. It's definitely a GLC piece. Then we have an Unfezient. What is Unfezient doing? Okay, Tranquil has free retreat. That's nice. Unfezient also has free retreat. Can get immunity on a coin flip. Can draw 4 for single energy. It's just not good. Okay, we've got an Ordino. Also, where's that Unfezient EX that was supposed to be good for the Pidove or whatever? We've yet to see the Unfezient EX. Okay, so we've got Ordino, which is definitely a GLC piece. Cincino does 20 damage for each of your bench Pokemon. Like, we've literally seen this attack recently on a Bayheem, so 0 points for creativity there. Okay, finally onto the trainers, thank goodness. We've got Energy Coin, flip 2 coins, both of them are heads, search your deck for basic energy, attach them to one of your Pokemon. It's a bad card, but it is a pretty funny one, right? Because people will not expect you to play this. So if you get lucky and you flip 2 heads, then, cool beans. We get a +1 energy in play, but you have to flip 2 heads. Like, that's just not really going to happen very often. Like Turbo Patch and, was it Turbo Patch or was it Energy Sticker? It was one of those two, was flip 1 heads, and that's seen virtually no play. So, like, I don't think Energy Coin's any better, sadly, but maybe in a coin flip deck. So yeah, here's the antique cover fossil for Tortuga. This is basically just a reprint of the last one. We've got a Pokegear reprint, kind of cool. Air Balloon, nice to see Air Balloon come back, I must admit. That's really nice. Ends Plot. Now, when I saw this card initially without any of the text, I got really excited because I thought it was an Ends reprint. But nope, move up to 2 energy from your bench Pokemon to your active. Poppy sees absolutely no play, so why would this? Yeah, like maybe if this could see play in a lightning type deck, I guess that's what they're pushing here, but overall I'm just not feeling it for this card. Like, maybe as a niche tech in something. Like, I guess maybe the Ho-Oh's deck that I've recently done a video on, like maybe that would play this, but nothing too crazy. Then we see a Research, and then Fennel, which again I don't think is going to see play. And then we get to Prism Energy, which is a pretty good card. Good for Okie Dokie. So yeah, that's it for Black Bolt. First impressions, honestly, I don't think this is a very good set. There's like maybe 4 or 5 cards to keep an eye on, but overall, not very good. But do let me know what you think down below. Always eager to hear other people's opinions, because no 2 opinions are going to be the same. So yeah, let me know what you think down below. And yeah, thank you for watching.